unit. That's what is an actual terminology for an ADU. The terms that I hear that are very popular here in the Central Valley are granny flats, casitas, guest houses, in-law suites. I'm sure you guys have all heard of those before. That's basically the terms of what people call them here in California, especially in the Central Valley. But the correct terminology for it is an accessory dwelling unit. The types of ADUs, there's a standalone unit, which is very, very popular. It's called a detached ADU. There's also garage conversions available if you'd like to convert your garage and not take up any more space. There's also over the garage ADUs, which are very popular in NorCal. I see a lot of those projects going on for me right now in San Francisco area. Basement and attic conversions is more of an East Coast type of thing. I haven't really seen anybody inquire for those, but it is a possibility. So these are just some few examples of the types of ADUs we're able to build. Nothing's really impossible. I've seen a lot of different variations of things, but this is kind of like the basic ABCs here of the different types of ADUs. These are some recent changes to accessory dwelling unit laws. I'm sure you as realtors have maybe heard of some of the ones such as SB 9 and SB 10. Those are very popular right now here in California. SB 9 allows us to split a lot and sell it separately as 2 units on one property lot. If you don't do SB 9 and you just build an ADU on your property, you would not be able to sell them separately. So that's one thing I learned not too long ago, that SB 9 allows you to be able to sell your other property and kind of split it off. So I thought that was very interesting. I have not done any SB 9 projects, although I have got a lot of inquiries for them. It has to kind of be the perfect storm, or I guess the perfect opportunity to make it happen and it be very doable. There's a lot of rules that go in. There's a lot of fine print that goes into it once you start going down that path, but it is a possibility. I do hear a lot of realtors ask me questions in regards to those. I have more information if you guys are interested. Just feel free to follow up with me at the end of the presentation. But you guys don't have to write those down. It's just a lot of legal jargon. This is kind of like the basics right here. SB 9, like I said, it allows you to split lots into 2 separate lots, which is very interesting. Like I said, it allows you to sell them separately, which I thought was really awesome. SB 10 is a really cool opportunity as well as far as the new laws. It allows you to zone differently. So I had a client that actually was going through this in San Diego. They were zoned as a regular residential home. And because of some reason in the location, how close they were to a lot of commercial buildings, they were getting the opportunity to use SB 10 and zone the house differently into a multifamily, which allowed them to do a duplex or at least more ADUs. So that's one cool little law that we've been learning about. Owner occupancy, I hear this one a lot through clients, like, hey, if I build an ADU, am I going to have to stay in the main home or the ADU, or can I rent out both? It's yes and no, depending if you build a junior ADU and a detached ADU. So if you have 2 separate ADUs on your house, you are legally required to at least live in one of them. Some people I've seen actually have done that up in Oakland and North Bay. They've actually moved into the junior ADU, which is most likely the garage conversion, and they rent out the primary home and the detached ADU for higher profits. So I always thought that was really cool. You can downsize and still live at home without having to sell your home. So I think that's really awesome. HOAs, I know you guys as realtors love HOAs. I love them myself too, but they can't stop anything in regards to ADUs. I know they stop a lot of different things, such as what your house might look like in the HOA, but they cannot prevent you from building an ADU. One of the powers that they might have over an ADU is telling us how it has to look. So they might require us to do the same type of roofing, the same type of siding, but HOAs cannot prevent you from building an ADU. That's a small little fact for everyone if they do work with people in HOAs. Requirements eased is really awesome. The state of California is encouraging these guys. I work all throughout the state of California. I was just in San Diego all weekend, and I was up in North Cal last week as well. I travel all over the state because we have a lot of projects going on, and requirements eased in multiple different big cities in California. Fresno is awesome. It seems like they've adopted some pre-approved ADUs. I'm sure you guys might have heard of that before. I'm working on 2 projects right now here in Fresno to see if we can get someone actually signed up and built here. Our company covers the entire state of California, but I'm looking to change that and make a staple here in Fresno, California. We do not have a lot of projects here. We have tons all over the rest of the state. So that's why I like to give a lot of information to everyone and let everyone know that these are a lot easier to build. And usually they want you to. They are encouraging you to build ADUs, and they want that for the city itself. So let me move on to the next slide.
One quick question, which you kind of addressed.
Sure.
Can you have 2 detached ADUs on the same property?
Good question. Depends on the municipality. One place that I know would love you to do that, Long Beach. That's just an example. There's multiple other cities that are like that. It kind of just takes having to go find out what the planning department has you zoned as, see how much space we have to work with, because even if you do have you're allowed to do two units in the current municipality you're in, that doesn't mean you have the space for it. So there's so many things that go into play. One thing that I like to bring up a lot is called FAR. It's the floor area ratio. I'm sure you guys know about this as well. Certain cities and counties only allow you a certain percentage to build on there. A lot of them are 40%, some are even more, some are 30, just depends on where we're at. Here in Fresno, I have not ran into that one because I've dealt with properties with big lots. But yes, there could be small little fine print that prevents you from building too big or multiple units. Usually the way it goes, Travis, is you're allowed to build 1 ADU and 1 junior ADU. Now, if you go into SB9, we can get even up to 4 units. That's a different conversation, but yes, we're allowed to get up to 3 ADU, up to 3 units on one home. One would be the main dwelling, one would be a detached ADU, and one could be a garage conversion. So you would be allowed to have 3 separate streams of income, although on one you might have to stay. So that's a little bit of information on that. I hope that kind of answered your question.
What determines if it's junior? What makes it a junior?
Perfect
Is it
question.
square footage?
Yes, sir. Under 500 square feet, it has to be up to 450. Some allow you up to 500, just depends on the municipality. But yes, you have to stay under a certain size. And another good thing to keep in mind, it has to be part of the main building. It has to be attached to it. So it can't
The junior does?
Yes, it cannot be a detached garage. It just can't. I ran into that. I thought, great, we can do the detached garage and convert it and then do another detached ADU. No, the city shut it down. It has to be part of the main building structure. Even if we wall it off and it does not share a door to the main building, it still has to be attached to the building. So that, I hope that one answered your question. Yes, that there's a size restriction and it has to be attached to the building.
And then just
back on.
one more stemming off that real quick. On the setbacks,
Yes.
do those get adjusted now? Are they more lenient with setbacks, especially, I guess, on the back of the house, in order to put more of these on? If they're encouraging the ADUs, have they also adjusted some of the setback requirements?
So setbacks are usually really rule of thumb. I mean, everywhere is really rule of thumb. It's about 4 feet. I'm sure you might have heard that as well. It's about 4 feet from all property setbacks from left, right, and back. One to keep in mind is building separation. I don't really see a lot of people ask me that one or even look into it. Even if you do have a good amount of space in the backyard to where you think you could squeeze something in, every municipality is different. So where some ask me to just stay 5 feet away from the roof line of the main building, some people tell me I have to stay 20 feet away from the main building. So it just depends on what the planning department, what type of laws they have in effect for that zone. As far as requirements eased, the reason that I say that is because they actually look for loopholes to allow you to do something. To get past setbacks, I would recommend doing maybe an attached building, so we wouldn't have to adhere to some of the setbacks. A way to get around some of the property setbacks in the back left and right side is if you have a current building that's already there. Like say you have a detached garage and it's right up to your property line, it's maybe like a foot away. And you know in your head that, hey, we have to have 4 feet separation for a building. Well, not necessarily. If it's already an existing structure and we just going to convert it, it doesn't have to adhere to any of those rules whatsoever because it's grandfathered in as an existing structure. That's a cool little fact. If you have, I like throwing this one out since we talk about existing structures. If you happen to have like a 3,000 square foot barn on your property, you can actually convert it. Just because it's an existing structure, you can use all of the square footage and you wouldn't have to adhere to the California laws, which only allow you to build up to 1,200. So
even if it was a non-permitted barn?
Yeah, we'd have to go in there and get it up to code. But yeah, if it's an existing structure, we can do it.
All right.
Yeah, so that's a really cool tidbit of information. I find out all kinds of stuff as I go,
I'm
obviously,
sure.
zones. It's really good information. Financial incentives, this top bullet point you guys see here, it's really cool. I don't know if you guys know about this. State of California is offering $40,000 right now if you want to build an ADU. It goes towards soft cost. So no, it's not going to go towards the construction cost, but it will go towards permits, design, your structural engineering, all the stuff you pay for that's not actually a material or construction. All the stuff that's like paperwork, things to get you there, $40,000. There is a wait list, so I'm not telling you they're handing it out right now, but if you do get it, they will roll that 40,000 into your loan, even if you have started already.
Jason.
Yes, Andrew.
So on permitting and things like that, I actually have several interested parties that want to do ADUs, but they're freaking out because they own the house on the property has unpermitted construction on it, and they're very concerned with somehow getting hit with, like, the person coming in to approve these plans is gonna turn around and attack their house. Are you seeing anything like that? Is that even possible? Is it, I mean, you've come across this more than me.
100%. Great question, Andrew. I hear this all the time, and it's a fear I always have to put down for clients. They will not bring anything up. I can tell you guys right now. I can guarantee that. I can even if they really wanted to, they could reach out to the planning department and bring it up. But from my experience and being here for a few years, the company does everything to where, yes, we're going to, draw out the plans, all the structural engineering for the ADU. You're not supposed to include things that are not pertinent to the project, obviously. So if there's like a deck or something that you built that was unpermitted and you're including it in the plans, well, obviously now they're going to look at it. But if it's not included in the plans, it's not part of the scope of work with the ADU, they are not going to even bat an eye, because their job is to go there and make sure that the ADU is up to date and up to code. They have no real reason to be snooping around in the properties. And I've ran into that before. I've had a lot of clients that bring that up. Like, hey, I did a garage room, or I did this, I put, a porch that was unpermitted. I did it myself. I don't want to get in trouble. I have not seen that happen. Now, I'm not saying it's 100%. Yes, it'll never happen, Andrew, but it's at least good to bring it up to the planning department. They're really cool. They're not going to raise any red flags if you just ask them, like, hey, working with the client, they have an unpermitted structure. Is that going to be a problem? They're not going to look into it, especially if it's something that doesn't pertain to the ADU.
Right. Awesome. Thanks for that information.
Of course, Andrew, if you need any more help, let me know. Yeah, that's really some of the stuff that I like these bullet points, because it brings up some of the incentives. The second one, for fees removed or lowered, this is really cool. A lot of people are trying to save some money. Anything under 750 square feet is going to be lower for permit fees. So I know it says fees, but I wanted to really harp on it. Permitting fees. There's something called impact fees. So if you build over 750, you're going to start paying a little more to the school district, to the water, irrigation, transportation, all kinds of different fees that go into it, just because you're taking up more of an ecological footprint now, because you're building a new property. Another person is going to be living there now. They do have higher fees if you build too big, but if you keep it under 750, it should help out a little more. A lot of people always ask me, how much are the permits? It's different everywhere. If the client is very interested, I'll go ahead and call the city and ask them, but that's just something to keep in mind if you're trying to keep costs low. Faster and easier permitting. The state of California has something to where it used to be 120 days before you would even get an answer for submitting plans. Now, by law, they have to give it back to us within 60 days with a yes or no. Before that new law, I think, which happened in 2019 or 2017, came into effect, you would submit plans and then they can return them and not even have any comments on there and just say, hey, they weren't approved. Well, why not? We didn't get to it, so we're just gonna disapprove it. So that happened a lot before. The state of California did not want that to keep going on, since they are encouraging this. So 60 days is as long as it should take with anybody. So state of San Diego is really backed up right now. That's the only place I can tell you that's really backed up past 60 days. But ETAs, guys, that's really important. For Urbatect here, we have 8 to 12 months on a contract guarantee for completion times. So that's just a little bit of information about us as well. Reduced parking. A lot of people bring this one up as well. Like, hey, if I build in my garage, or is the city going to need me to build like another driveway or another parking spot? Yes and no. Remember I brought up earlier that there's loopholes to kind of get around stuff. This is one of them. If you live within, I think, a mile or even up to 3 miles of a bus stop, of a designated lift area, a transit stop, anything like that, they will bypass it and not make us have to build anything extra. That's pretty cool. I mean, unless the client really wants some parking, then we can get into that. So what's the real big deal about this? It really is extra revenue, 2 more units. A lot of the clients I deal with, people usually think I deal with investors all day. It's actually the complete opposite. I deal with people that are building this for their family, for their kids, for someone that's older, they can't get around so easily. Temperatures are too harsh where they currently live. So many different reasons that people invest into these. And that's what I do every day. Now, yes, investors do look into this as well. I'm not going to say I don't work with them, but at a cost standpoint is mostly what they look at. Clients that are looking to build this for mom just to be comfortable are okay with whatever I tell them because they want something that's quality. They're not looking for the cheapest contractor. So it is an easy way to kind of get some more revenue without having to go look into more properties. Like in Long Beach right now, I think the median price for certain homes has finally hit $1 million. So it's a no-brainer for some people in SoCal and even NorCal. Like, hey, if I want to go buy another home next door, it's going to cost me north of $800,000 when I can just build $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 ADU that would be basically the same size of the house that I was looking at that would cost that much. So it's really a no-brainer for other parts of the state. Here in Central Valley and Fresno, it kind of evens up. So the cost of building is a little lower. I'm not going to see it's as expensive as NorCal and SoCal because it is cheaper here in the Central Valley. But I've seen that the pricing is kind of, how can I say, competitive with what regular real estate listings are. So I have people tell me, well, why would I buy into building an ADU when I can just go buy another home that's around the same cost? I totally understand that. But in this instance, it's kind of like saying, hey, I can sell you a new car or a used car. They're both the same price. Which one would you like? That one definitely is a no-brainer. But people don't see it like that. They don't see it like that when it comes to real estate. And I understand, but I think it's just having to look at it differently. You're going to get the property value. You're going to get, you're going to get the extra space, more rental income. There's so many positives to it that a lot of people don't see yet. And I'm looking to change that. I want to make a big staple here in the Central Valley and Fresno, obviously. We've got a couple of projects going on here in the Central Valley with 2 clients in Fresno. I'd love to boast those if they do happen to go through. So they're actually 2 pre-approved plans through the county of Fresno. So I'll keep you guys updated if I ever do get those built here. But that's really the big deal. Who benefits from all this stuff? What's all this information for? It's really for existing clients you guys might have, any homeowners you might know, potential clients you speak to. Hey, they can't afford the house they really wanted, but they own a house and they're looking for a place for mom. So maybe that's an opportunity. Rental property investments is a big one. Family support and the dream space as well. There's people that are looking to build these and already have a vision for it. I just kind of come in and listen and put it all on paper. That's really my job. I try to make sure we can even do these correctly, that it is doable with certain laws and municipality codes that we have to adhere to. I do a lot of research for clients, guys. So to give you guys a little more information, I know I give you some basic info on ADUs. Now to circle back into who I am as a consultant here at Urbatect. We're here located in North Fresno on Palm and Herndon. We service the entire state. The company chose Fresno because it's a great satellite point right in the middle of California. So that means I get to travel all the way to San Diego and all the way up to Sacramento on any given point. And what we do as a company is clients usually reach out to me like, hey, Jason, I'm interested in an ADU for my mom, or I want one for a rental. Great. We start getting some notes down like, wait, do you have solar on the home? Is there fire sprinklers inside of your residence? All the main questions we ask that are really pertinent to the laws. But once we get past that, we're like, okay, well, why are you building this? Okay, it's for mom. Does she have trouble getting around? Great, let's throw ADA compliance in there to put some rails in the bathtub, make wider walkways for the wheelchair. What were you thinking of? Did you want 2 bedrooms? Did you want 1? Are you looking into vaulted ceilings? Once we get past that, I usually hop on Zoom, such as we are now, and I share my screen. I'm like, hey, let's go on Google. Let's go on Google Earth. Let's look at your property. I have a cool app called Symbian where I'm able to pull up your property and show you exactly where the ADU will be built. It'll even have a little stencil cut out to show you what it would look like on the property. It's really awesome. I go over this with clients up front. Then say they're interested. I'm like, hey, let me get you a rough ballpark. I start working on that immediately after I find out what size they want and what scope of work is included. Once I get all that information, boom, I start working on it and get a price together for them. Even though it's a little rough, it's not going to be exactly accurate yet. Once they hear the price, if it makes sense, I start putting a proposal together. That's a very extensive contract. It's about 20 pages or so. And it's got all the details, all the scope of work, what's going to go into it, basically what you're getting for your money. Once they have that in their hands, I go out to their property in person with the project manager local to the area. We measure the lot out. We make sure we're able to do what we're promising or what they want. And once all those boxes are checked off, it's simple as that. They usually end up moving forward and we get to building. Estimated time of completion is 8 to 12 months right now. The biggest difference, honestly, between us and a regular GC that anyone might have known or you could talk to, or anyone you could look up on Google, the biggest difference really from us and a regular general contractor is we're a design build firm. So we have everything here under one roof. I'm a consultant, so my job is to just make sure we can do these projects, get them done correctly, give them a price. Now, there's so much more that goes on behind the scenes right here next to me. We have project managers, we have architects, we have engineers, we have everything under one roof. What that does is it streamlines communication. It gives the client only one contract to deal with and not multiple people having to hold up their end of the word. It's just one company. And it gives people peace of mind. We do everything from design, permitting to the actual construction and get them a certificate of completion to where they're allowed to move in and rent it out. So that's really what my job is here and what we do for clients. We take it all the way from A to Z, and we're able to do this so with a quality grade product. We do not offer builder's grade, which would be the most economic option, but everything is all custom design. So that's really what we do here. It's pretty straightforward. All it really takes is just kind of informing people of what's out there and what we do, to even say, hey, yeah, let me see what you've got. You know, I might be a little too pricey for some people, but that's okay because I kind of don't leave them an option. They end up walking away and with my proposal that's like 25 pages and very detailed, and they go to a guy that just came by and looked at your house and said, all right, it's gonna be about this much. Or you call them up and say, hey, how much is the price per square foot? Oh, it's gonna be about $300. If they're able to give you an answer that fast, I'd run away. If they give you a price without it being in writing, I'd run away. There's so much stuff going on in construction. I'm sure some of you guys here listening to this have gone through that, the bad side of it, to where either the contractor just ran away with your money or abandoned the job or started asking for more money after you started and you were promised one price. We see that happen all the time, guys. So that's really what we try to prevent. We want to make sure these processes are as easy and fluid as possible. And we want to give the client something good. You know, we want to stand out. We just got awarded the #1 design build firm here in the state of California. And we hold that with a high regard because we know that there is a lot of people out in construction and it's really hard for clients to find the right one. So once they get in front of me, I make sure I do my job correctly. Everything I told you guys today is what I do for clients. And that's how we're able to assure that we are the right choice for them. So now you guys know what clients get. What's in it for you guys? You know, as a realtor, what's in it for me? Great. I know that you sell ADUs, Jason. I know how you do it too. So what's in it for me? It comes down to a commission base, 2.5%. So on $100,000, it's $2,500, 200K, that's 5K paid out as commission. And that's just for referral. We do have a lot of partners, from lenders to realtors to appraisers to architects, everyone you can think of that works with homeowners. We've partnered up with to try to work with them. This is really cool because now if you know someone that's like, hey, they can't afford that $500,000 home they were really wanting to buy for a rental, but they have a rental and they can afford a $200,000 one, let's get them set up, see if we can get it built with Jason. Hey, they end up moving forward. Before you know it, you've got a $5,000 check in the mail waiting for you. So that's really cool. If you guys are interested in becoming partners, please follow up with me. I'd love to get you guys all signed up as partners, whoever's listening into this, and give you guys some more information. Really, there's so much to give. I don't want to overwhelm everybody with what we do, but I at least gave everyone the basics and what we actually do. A lot of realtors that work with me actually send people over and want to be a part of the actual process. So I've had clients or partners that hop on Zoom with me and the client at every single step of the way. So when we're on the first Zoom call to when I do a site visit, you know, we've got the realtor really, really attached to the process. So that's perfectly fine with me, guys. We're very transparent. We love to show what we do for clients, and we love to show you how we do it. So that's basically all I got for you guys today. Thank you so much for giving me some of your time. I hope this was very informational. I'm looking over some of the questions here on the chat. I see something that says, what does it take to convert a garage into an apartment? Provide a quick plan check. The city of Marietta takes 5 to 6 months to process a garage to apartment conversion. Yeah, that's one of the things I've heard too, where there's some cities that take a while because they're backed up. San Diego is one, so Marietta might be one. It's down there as well. I could look into that for you, Larry. Just please follow up with me after the Zoom, and we can go over that. I can get you some information. Our small tiny homes or small mobile homes on foundation work, I could tell you guys right now, small tiny homes and mobile homes they're not the same as an ADU. So a pre-manufactured home or a mobile home has to go through like a 3.8 earthquake before it gets to your house. And a tiny home is actually administered by the DMV because they have wheels. So they're not going to add any property value. If you guys were wondering if small tiny homes will do that, manufactured homes might, but they're going to depreciate like a car. And Anahid, I saw the question, does this increase property value? 100%. One question that was brought up at the beginning, though, that pertains to that, comps. So if you want your ADU to add property value, if there's more ADUs in the nearby area, you're most likely going to get a good bang for your buck. So it just depends if there's comparables in the area. I have a good appraiser that I work with. I'm sure all you guys as realtors also have appraisers you work with. That's awesome. One of the cool tools that the appraiser gave me was that he's able to give a pre and post evaluation of what your house could be worth after you build said ADU. So that's really interesting. If you guys are interested in looking into information like that, please let me know. Does home insurance cover ADU? Is there an ADU insurance? Great question, Anahid. I actually talked to a home insurance rep not too long ago. They said they're starting to offer more things that would cover an ADU as well. So it kind of just comes down to if the person you're working with or the insurance company you're working with will cover that as well. Will each EDU have 2 different addresses? That's a great question as well. APN numbers. You can request it if it's a detached ADU. Yes, you're able to request it. We are able to separate utilities as well. So if you want it for a renter and you don't want them to run up your tiers on PG&E and get your bill to like $600, yeah, you could separate the utilities as well. So that's one thing we have as an option. But yes, you are able to get 2 different addresses with it. Let's see if anyone else has some questions.
There was some in the Q&A. I think a lot of it you've answered along the way.
Oh, you know what? Guys, I saw some people asking about my information. Let me type it into the chat here. Let me type in my phone number if you guys want to reach out to me directly. And I'll also put it in my email. So if you guys want to reach out to me in that method, that's perfectly fine with me. All of it's just really free information, guys. So if you guys want me to go and reach out to the planning department, I'm sure I had to reach out to them anyways. I don't mind calling them and bugging them. A lot of people already know me to this point. Let's go over the Q&A. Sonia, looks like you said, can you have 2 detached ADUs on the same property? Depends on the municipality, but yes, some places are allowed to have that. Travis, I think you brought that up earlier. If we're able to do 2 units.
I was looking at her Q&A earlier. Yeah.
Oh, got you. Let's see. What if we already have 2 detached buildings, 1 guest house, the other 2 rooms, they could be converted. Setbacks and SD. Oh, I was just in San Diego. Conversions, yes. The city of Vista said if you have a permitted garage to live, you have to build another garage 15 years ago. Yeah, that could be, Sonia, because remember I brought up the parking thing. Yeah, a lot of people don't require you to do parking now, so I don't think they would require us to build a whole garage just for parking on that side. And I did put my information on there. Are you guys able to see it? I see someone.
Actually, no, because you sent it to hosts and panelists. I just switched it. You'll have to switch to everybody and then input your contact.
I see it, you guys. Let me see this. Let me copy this and post it on here so everyone can reach out if you guys have any questions.
On the pre-approved ones, I know San Diego County's got 3 that are pre-approved ADU plans. How much can you deviate from those when you're talking about vaulted ceilings and things like that? Do you have to build it exactly how it is on those pre-approved?
Unfortunately, yes. We can't alter anything because the structural engineering's already been done. Any alteration whatsoever would kick it into, oh, well, now you need an engineer and an architect. So that's the bad part about it. Pre-approved plans, I can tell you guys right now, if they're really looking to save a little bit of money, it's going to save them about maybe like 15, 20K on design costs. But I
Mhm.
mean, 15-20K over a 30-year loan, maybe it's like $20. So if you're really interested in doing a design home, custom design, I would invest that little extra just to make it your own and make it exactly how you wanted. Because usually
Yeah,
the pre-approved plans are very cookie cutter,
they look like
unfortunately.
it.
Yeah, unfortunately. Fresno County's cool. They have a lot of different options, but yeah, it's still cookie cutter. You know, you're limited to what they offer. That's it.
Yeah. So, all right, cool. Well, and if you get the 40,000, if you can get that, that could be applied towards the design, correct?
100%. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. So it wouldn't even hurt to get it put it on there. So yeah,
yeah,
it'll cover that. It'll cover permitting, I think, as well. It covers anything that's, like I said, not labor or actual like construction materials. So things that are all paperwork, the stuff that you pay for in the process, it's all covered by that $40,000 grant.
That $20,000 design cost would cost you $146 over 30 years at
Andrew,
8%.
I'm going to use that number. Thank you so much.
At
I just picked a
8%.
random one.
146.75 at 8%.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Yeah, I work with a lot of lenders, guys. I mean, if you guys have lenders too that you work with and you want to work with them directly, if you have a client that came to me, I'm all for it. Honestly, I work with multiple lenders, so we're really just looking for the client's best interests. We have no take into it. So whoever is the best option for the client, let's do it. You know, this is
yeah,
really just the building side of things. It's a quality grade product. Like I said, I kind of blow clients away by the amount of work we do and how extensive the contract and detailed it is. So we don't leave other companies an option. We kind of blow them in the dust. If the guy that came by to tell you he was half my price, now you're really wondering why he's half my price. So it's really fun to do that stuff, guys. I've been doing sales since I was about 18. I'm about 29 now, almost 29. But yeah, my whole life has kind of been representing number one. I started off with Solar City, who is now Tesla now. I was with them in San Diego for 5 years. So thank you for bringing that up, Sonia. I love San Diego. I was out there for about 5 years of my life. When I came back at the age of about 23 or 24, I represented Costco's HVAC division all throughout the Central Valley. So from Bakersfield up to, I think, Stockton or so was the top limit. I was selling HVAC units for about $30,000 and people were looking at me like I was insane. But a lot of people were purchasing because it's Costco. You know, you love the number one, you love quality, you love assurances, you love guarantees. Everyone loves that stuff, guys. If you think they're not willing to pay for it, they are.
yep,
Because these type of investments, when we get into $100, $200, $300,000, it's not a game anymore. This is some really big investments that clients should take seriously. And all it takes is really educating them, because if the only person they've talked to is mom and pop Joe that, you know, offered them an ADU for $50,000, then they're going to get $50,000 worth of something, that's for sure, but they might not be happy with it. We were looking to prevent that. That's all we want to
yeah,
do. Yeah, that's
Cool.
really it, guys. Thank you. Like I said, again, so much for your questions. I hope I answered everyone. I put my phone on there. I hope everyone can see it. But if you guys have any questions at all, want me to do some homework, feel free to reach out. You know, it's all about transparency. I've had some realtors call me and say, well, what's the price per square foot? And I'm like,
yeah,
I don't have that. Let me know some more details and I'll give you the price right now over the phone. And once I tell them that, they're like, okay, fine, I'll tell you. So
yeah.
it's,
And I
I'm not
imagine
looking
that
to hide
adjusts
anything.
so much because of fit and finishes and all that stuff too. I mean,
100%,
yeah,
100%. Little things that alter prices right away. Number one, solar. Two, fire sprinklers. Those are the big ones. Vaulted ceilings as well. Scope of work, like, do they want an extra bathroom? How far back is it? Like, is it more than 150 feet from the main line at the front of the street? Because if it is, that's a lot of trenching. So we might have to add a
mhm,
little more cost. Is
Did,
there demolition? Am I going to have to knock down a wall or an entire garage? So there's stuff like that that goes into it. When I tell people there's no real cost for square foot, it's true, but I still want to give them the price. It's not saying I don't want to give it to them. So yeah, I've had people call me like that. I've had people call me as well, asking me for information, and I ask them, well, what's the address to the property so I can look it up right now? And they don't want to tell me. It's all right, you know, I'm not going to go knock on their door. I'll promise you that. But I just want to get everyone the info. And
but
once they have the info, you know, you guys can do what you want with it. On a heat, I saw your question. Solar on ADUs, yes, any new construction is required to have solar unless you guys have solar on your main dwelling. So if there's solar on the main home, we don't need to put it on the ADU.
okay. And would the ADU have to be running off of that if it was a separate detached unit?
Not necessarily. So if you have let's say like if you have solar on the main dwelling, and you don't have to put it on the ADU. If you separate the utilities, it wouldn't matter. You know, they're just going to be running off basic electric. Some people do put ADU on the main, put solar on the ADU, I mean, and it kind of routes back into the main home. I don't know why they wanted to do it that way, but they might end up with the true up bill. So I wouldn't recommend that. I worked in solar, so I at least know how it works really well. I at least throw some recommendations to clients to make sure they don't shoot themselves in the foot.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Well, I really appreciate your time. That was super informative. Everybody, his info is in the chat. If you have questions, you run across clients, things like that, if you want to get into his referral program, give him a call. His email's in there as well. And I'm sure he can answer any and all things that are ADU. So
100%. Thank you guys so much for today.
yeah,
I look forward
really
to talking
appreciate
to
you
you
coming
guys
on.
soon.
Yeah. Awesome. We'll see you. Everybody have a good week.
Thank you,
Thanks,
guys.
Jason. Thanks, Travis.
Okay.